Hey folks, hope you're doing good today. Now today we're going to check out 3 one-man bands, and you know I absolutely love one-man bands. I'm a one-man band myself as well, and I just love the whole idea of being in a one-man band, producing your own music, it all being your own personal thing, and the fact that nowadays with computers and a bit of recording equipment you can basically get the job done all by yourself, start getting into mixing and all the rest of it, and understanding sound and how you want your sound to come across to people. And once you've done that, there's no holds barred. You're just free to create as much music as you like and do it all yourself. It's super dope. And the 3 bands that we got on today, they all sound a bit different as well, but they're all sounding really great, and it just shows you how you don't need to be in a band nowadays to really get the job done and sound like a band and, you know, produce a piece of music that sounds like a bunch of people. The first person we got up today is Raze the Altar, and this guy made a priority submission, which is why we've got this stuff on the channel. And I saw that he was a one-man band, so I've been digging through my queue to find other one-man bands that I had in there as well, because I thought, yeah, we'll just check out one-man bands today. It's pretty cool. He said his album Cataclysm Eden came out on the 8th of October. It's on all streaming platforms if you want to check it out after the show. The track that we're going to check out today is called Chronophage. It's got a lyric video to it as well. So let's check it out, see what they do. Lots of sounds going on already.
The numbers on my face can be mispronounced. So don't bite the hand that counts. You've been through the logs and the heads on the blocks. Necks only have 7. I turn like the clocks when I'm back in their stocks. And what's it good for all the murdered? From solstice to equinox, I realize the paradox and come to the stars when it's ever. As the plague is the crops, the sea is the rocks, and there's nothing of this storm as I wet that. Wet that. Wet that. Wet that.
All sorts going on in this track.
The numbers on my face can be mispronounced. So don't bite the hand that counts.
Every section of this track's different.
I pour my soul into this savagery to set us free. But the thread you're hanging on by unravels the rest of me. The numbers on my face can be mispronounced. So don't bite the hand that goes.
Nice job. Well, there you go. It's one of the reasons why I love checking out one-man bands, is because you just never really know what to expect from these guys. When it's just come from one person and it's one, you know, one individual's personal take and vision, and they've arranged it all themselves and thought of it all themselves and had to put their hand to all the different aspects that go on within a band and making music. You just never know what you're going to get, because when people work together, you know, they kind of compromise and wouldn't do things that they would necessarily do on their own. And that's fine. That actually works out quite well in a lot of cases, because some people have some crazy ideas about what to bring into music that wouldn't always work. And you need some other band members to temper them down sometimes. But when you're in a band, you know, your music isn't as necessarily as personal to each individual, because they've had to make some compromise in their creativity because they're working with other people. That's just the way it works. And then when you're in a one-man band and there's that weight is almost lifted off your shoulders, if you think about it that way, you can just be free to do whatever you like. And you can tell that this guy has been free and done whatever he liked, because there's so many different sounds in this mix, and sounds that you wouldn't necessarily hear together as well. The operatic stuff and stabby orchestral bits with heavy guitars, lots of breakdowns and cutouts and pauses within the music and stuff like that. I think there was maybe a bit too many pauses in this one, because I was expecting it to do a drop, and it would have felt nice to have a drop at some sections, but it pulled back and had a pause. So I think maybe if you're going to write another track like this in the future, maybe cut down the pauses just slightly, and instead of having a pause, because it was a bit of a kind of cock tease in a way, where you felt like, man, I want to feel a drop here, and then it pulled back. And it would have just been nice to get that drop a few times. So I think that would have been my only kind of nitpick on this one, but it sounded great. Had a nice, loud, modern, punchy mix, you know, sounded right, didn't sound really amateur and bedroomy and that stuff like that. Sounded like a proper sound, and just loads of stuff going on, different section, different section, different section. Nice heavy vocal in there as well, which was recorded well. So one-man bands getting the job done, absolutely love it, and I just cannot wait to see, once we get more and more people who know how to mix and do their own music and record and stuff like that, which will happen going forward, because it's, once you've figured it out, it's actually not that hard. It's just, you got to spend the time to figure it out and get your head around it. I really think we're going to see a lot of one-man bands just pumping out the music because they can, and suddenly we'll start getting a lot more music without those compromises, without the band compromises in them. Now we'll probably end up with a lot of crap music and weird stuff and stuff that doesn't really work as well, but that's fine. But you know, there'll be creative people out there that will break through with some really amazing music because they're just been able to create it all on their own, and they've got some really great ideas. Cool. Thanks for making a submission, Raze the Altar. We hope to see you back on this channel again and talk about your one-man band, because one thing as well that happens very much so with one-man bands, because you've got so many different tasks at hand, all the instruments to play and the recording and the mixing and everything else, there's a lot of scope for improvement, because you're not going to be the best at all the instruments and everything else. It's just not going to happen. So over time, your mixes are going to get better, your compositions will get better, your recording and everything else will get better, your videos and whatever. So, you know, I really like as well that with one-man bands, you see them evolve, you see them get better, you see them try out new things, different styles. Yeah, just great. Absolutely love it. Next band that we're going to check out is Omgxero. The track is called Unsober. Where was this guy from that I saw? Oh, this guy as well does freelance design and illustration. So he's not only making music, he's doing drawing and illustration and stuff as well, which is super cool. CT, where is that? I can't remember. Oh, Connecticut is where he's from. There you go. So let's check this guy out. No, if I hadn't just said he's from Connecticut, I would have swore this guy was British, because this sounds very British. cool energy. I think it would have been nice to get a bit more chunk out of the guitars, beef them up a bit, because the drums are nice and loud. Yeah, it would have been nice just there to get a bit more chunk on the guitars. You can see as well with the mix, it's not super wide. So spread those guitars out, double layer them up, make it nice and thick, give the music a chunk. Yeah, you can see his guitars now, they're straight down the middle. And to get the chunk, you need to double layer them and then pan them to the left and right. Cool passion in the vocal. Cool. Well, it just shows you again, you never know what you're going to get from a one-man band. Somewhat different though, and somewhat a bit out of the ordinary. Very cool. I think what this guy needs to work on now is getting his sound in terms of the guitars to just have a bit more chunk. And the way to do that is just some pretty basic mixing tips in terms of panning the guitars, double layering the guitars. I think they might have even been MIDI guitars. I'm not too sure about that. But it sounded kind of MIDI. And what you would need to do with that depends on what MIDI program you're using. I haven't used too many guitar MIDI programs, but there is a kind of natural dial that you can turn that gives it a bit of swing and flow. So I think you could double track even MIDI guitars and then pan them out to the left and right. And what that would have done is just made the track seem wider, thicker, chunkier, give it some body. Could have cranked the bass as well in there a bit more and had a bass line, because it had a kind of hip-hopness to it, you know, and hip-hop's always great with a big bass line to it as well. And I think just fill out the music, you know, is what I would say, you know, moving forward for this guy. And as I just said before, there's always stuff to improve within a one-man band because they've got every single task at hand to learn and do. And my next thing to him, I would say, Google, YouTube some videos about panning guitars and getting thick and chunky guitars. Because I think if that had been in this music, it would have made a big difference to the sound overall. Would have just give it a bit more body. But yeah, cool job. Cool to be thinking outside the box and doing some stuff like this as well. And what I did particularly like in this one is the passion in the vocal. You could tell that he cared about what he was doing. And that's another thing that I just love about one-man bands, because if you're in a one-man band or doing one-man band stuff, you're not really in a one-man band. But if you're doing one-man band stuff, you're doing it because you're passionate and you want to create something, you know, because it's too much work to do otherwise. So you know, when someone on their own makes a song all the way to the end, it's really been a passion project. Super dope. Right, so the last guy we're going to check out is a guy called Jamie Stoffa. Apparently he's got Billy Tagg in this one as well, though. This track is called Day 52. Let's get it on the screen, give it a spin. Oh, we've got a nice big sound in this one. Chunky guitars.
There's blood on my head. My clothes had the wall.
lot of pauses in today's music. Nice big washy cymbals in the mix. There's no issues with this mix not being wide enough. Cool. Any band would be happy with this sound. Sounds right. Drums sound great. Got a nice amount of reverb on them. I wondered if we'd finished there, but no. We got another pause. We had a lot of pauses in today's music. Great cymbal sound as well. I really like the sound on this drum kit. I'm not sure if it's MIDI or not. But yeah, really sounds great. Those cymbals just really fill out the mix with a big wash. Cool. Well, any band would be happy with this sound. Sounded right, sounded like it should. High quality, loud, wide, punchy, nice punch in the drums. The vocals sat in there nicely. They moved the vocal around as well with distortions and compressions and things like that, which sounded cool. Even a bit of auto-tune on there. Now, I think maybe they did overdo the auto-tune on just a couple of sections there. I think what's nice with auto-tune is when you layer it with the real vocal as well, is where you have kind of the real vocal as the main vocal, and then you layer some electronic auto-tune vocal just slightly behind that in terms of volume, and it can give a nice depth and electronic edge to the raw natural vocal as well. That's how I would have approached it in this one. But man, just shows you again, these guys have got a bunch of stuff going on. Modern, djenty, metalcore-y, but also with a cool post-hardcore breakout edge. Nice and wide for the chorus and bringing in the melody and stuff like that. So just shows you all the three guys today who've checked out. Of got a bunch going on in their music. They've all got a bunch of ideas to try and get out, and no doubt their next track will sound different to the one that they just put out, because I know I do that. You know, I'll put out an atmospheric black metal record and then the next one's death metal or something like that. So you don't have to stick to the same genre and, you know, keep pumping out the same kind of music over and over again like you might need to do in a band once you've got established. That's what I just love about one-man bands. There's no holds barred, there's no rules. It's just freedom to create your own music, do what the hell you like. Now, I'm not saying that's always going to work out and be the best thing that we've ever heard, but it's going to, you know, you're going to learn from it, you're going to get experience from it, and your next track might just be the best thing we've ever heard. And stuff that you wouldn't get from a band because of, as I say, of those compromises that have to go on in a band. There's no compromises when you work with yourself. And yeah, it's, you could say, well, that's really selfish and stuff like that. And yeah, it is selfish, but it's not at the expense of anyone else, you know. There's no one, you're not pissing someone else off or overriding someone else's ideas. They're all your own ideas. You just got to get them out and get them made. Sick. Really appreciate the three guys today for doing that and, you know, creating the music, because I think these guys are going to be the kind of pioneers moving forward of people who just create their own music at home, and we just start to see loads and loads of one-man bands and a whole bunch of fresh new music that you wouldn't necessarily get from a bunch of band members when they have to work together. Sick. Really enjoy it. Hope you've enjoyed these guys today. Check them out if you want to, and we'll see you around tomorrow. Bye.